Okay, let's get back to the next question that I'm going to ask to Ruth. Is that did you encounter any difficulties in your production process?
Okay, to answer your question, this is my first time doing for an original comic series. So I needed to study on the characters and their traits. So that's why I went to go and read the stories first. So let me share screen. Okay, so this is Dreamwalker. It's about a girl who got involved with the dreamscape and then eventually she became a warrior to protect dreams. So as you notice for this series, the colors are actually more monochromatic, it's more dreamy. As for the other series, A Deal with Lucifer, it's more contrast because I heard the artist, she liked red. So hers is more of a black, red, white and grey sort of a combination. So I had to be very careful when I'm making both series to distinguish from the both of them. So this is what I did for Yume, which is for Dreamwalker. Hers is predominantly a so-called like red color. So this is like red hue, so it's a monochromatic color scheme. And the white part, if I remember correctly, they are the stars, right? I picked this on purpose is because they actually go in the dark. And I heard at one of the events that we actually sold this out quite fast. As for Muka's one is more predominantly blue. And because it's a cat, so you notice for the new and the older version, both have cat symbols on them. As for A Deal with Lucifer, these are all accessories depicting Lucifer. So you have Lucifer in her so-called default color scheme, which is more of red, black, and a bit of a orangey red. As for her angel form, because if you read the comic, you have her playing a harp. So I had the music symbol. As for the brooch, it is in her default color scheme. This is more like a school uniform, sort of a simplified brooch design. As for her season 2, Winter Fairy Heart, because heart, and this has something to do with the so-called male characters that are like trying to fight for her. So I think it's more of a romantic sort of so-called like storyline. So I have more of a so-called heart symbol there. And as you notice, my designs actually evolved over the past 2 years because I picked up a lot more new techniques like beading, brushing. Yeah, so I managed to like meld them so you can actually get the character feel from them.
Okay, from what I can see from what you have done on the accessories is quite a lot of hard work inside and a lot of different types of ornaments being assigned to the designated characters, and it's very lovely, well done. And then the next question for you is what's the differences between making jewelry related to the original local comics and making your own original jewelry?
Okay, that's a very good question. So like I mentioned just now, when I make for the two above mentioned comic series, I have to bear in mind the so-called the character traits, the colors, the feel, and the storyline that is associated with the character, so that when fans, when they see the accessories, they can relate to it immediately. But for mine, I can be more flexible in terms of my own storyline. This one is from my 5 Goddesses of Happiness, which is evolved from actually 2 in Chinese futai. So basically futai is something that the Japanese, they put in all the palang and then they go and sell, kind of like fortune bags. So the love and the so-called happiness is the first 2 that I created. Then after that, it evolved into wealth, health, and the little happiness in life. That is what I mean by the flexibility, because I can set the colors, can set the storyline, and the ornaments, the components, and everything to my own so-called like freedom. And this one is for those who have seen my Instagram and my Facebook, this one is from one of my jewelry inspired stories, the Sakura Demon's Tale. So this one is made according to Ijie's character inspired bracelet. As for this one, is my latest, haven't released yet, mafia theme wrist cuff. It's been some time since I made wrist cuff, and as I mentioned before, Wyrrd Rune actually started more of as a gothic and Victorian jewelry production. So I kind of like, in a way now, revisit back because of what I'm watching recently, which is Vincenzo. So, and speaking of my own creations, I didn't take these out because they are really pretty old. These are my first piece that I made. This is the first choker that I ever experimented with. That's why it looks a bit chewy. So because of the age, it's actually made back in 2004. So that was my first time knowing the existence of velvet, knowing the existence of silver charms and satin ribbons and the likes. And this one is my very first bracelet, metal components one. And as you see, there's a symbol of an ankh, the Egyptian symbol of life there, which is what I was obsessed with at that time.